To Sahara TV, my name is Rudolf Okonkwo. I'm stepping in for Adiola and Humble Prince for their phone segment when they take phone calls, give you the chance to have your inputs on some of the stories we've been presenting to you today. I know that joining me here is Kwesi Baako. Kwesi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Rudolf, for inviting me.
Yeah, so we are going to do the same thing they do, which is to hear you. We don't want to hear our voices. We want to hear you call us and tell us what you think about the main stories going on across Africa. One of the two topics we want to touch on is the situation at the NNPC, where a new general manager has been in place. So we want to know what you think about that. Do you think that it will lead to changes at NNPC? Also, the big story for this morning has been the news that former governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola, spent $400,000, about 78 million naira, to upgrade, not to design, upgrade a personal website. We spoke to the operational manager of budget. This a non-government organization that goes about looking at budgets of government agencies and states and federal level. And he was the one that looked at it and published it, and it became known to people. We talked about what that means, how we got to this point, and we want to hear your views. Also, we spoke to Toyin Akinosho, who is editor and publisher of a magazine that covers energy called Oil and Gas Africa. So he talked about the changes at NNPC and what he thinks is needed to reform the agency. We will take your calls. We will hear what you have to say. The number is 917-284-9811. Again, 917-284-9811. Kwesi.
Yes, Rudolf.
NNPC. You don't have anything like that in Ghana, do you?
We do, actually. We have the GNPC.
What does that mean?
Ghana National Petroleum Corporation.
Why can't you people find a better name? Why do you have to copy everything they do in Nigeria? And you're going to end up with the same corruption in... I think you already have that.
That's what I was going to say to you. Like, who says we don't have corruption?
No, you should have said, you know what, let's just find a different name. Maybe there will be a different outcome. How could you just... All right, so this is our situation. NNPC, we had Buhari. When he came here, he said, we are going to split it into two. Governor of Kaduna State, El Rufai, said that we have to kill NNPC, whatever that means. But everybody in Nigeria, they believe that NNPC is corrupt, is the reason why we don't know how much oil we produce. We don't know what happens to the money. So what is your take by changing the general manager? Buhari just appointed someone else to take over that spot as the group general manager of NNPC. Do you think that will make an impact?
Thank you, Rudolf, once again. I think that should make a difference. And I'm personally considering the fact that President Buhari has hardly appointed the people that everybody's expecting him to appoint. But then he has appointed this person because he probably has noted that this is a key area where he needs to pay a lot of attention. So my belief is that he's got someone that he totally trusts to head that department. I believe it should bring some form of change. The thing, though, is most of the time, the problem is not from who is heading. It's from the institutions and how they've been set up and you know, all of that. So my worry really in this matter is, okay, the head has been changed, but the institution itself, is it going to be changed? The way they operate, is it going to be changed? The powers going to be concentrated on the same people who have been duping Nigeria of, you know, millions of barrels of oil and all of that. So I believe that we should definitely see at least some nominal change in that area. But I think it goes beyond changing the head. I think they should look at actually changing the operational, you know, the mode of operations of the NNPC.
Now, once again, the number to call is 917-284-9811. When I spoke to Toyin Akinosho, who is an expert in the industry, he said that, I mean, there might be changes a little bit, but he would prefer to see the NNPC basically taken away from this role of they're playing, that no government agency has been successful in Nigeria, and this will not be the first one. That the best thing is to sell off the refineries and have an NPC simply monitor the industry and don't have them in this situation where they handle basically 80% of all the income of the country. How is it in Ghana?
I would tread cautiously on that particular aspect. I mean, he's an expert, and I know next to nothing about oil and gas, so I dare not even say anything, different from what he's saying. I'm just saying that it's an area where I'll tread cautiously in dealing with.
Okay, we have a new caller. Let's hear what they have to say. Hello.
Yes. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon. What's your name?
Yeah. My name is Victor, and I'm calling from California.
Okay, Victor, go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, I think just watching your program this morning, I just distill it to a couple of things. The problem is the Nigerian character or the African character. Just to be blunt about it, because I was listening to Tony, the gentleman the publisher that you interviewed, Dr. Damages. I think you interviewed him earlier.
Yes.
And basically, he was saying that the NNPC should be privatized. I think that's what he pretty much boiled it down to. And for me, that's nonsense, because we've already seen how some privatized entities in Nigeria has not produced the clean bill of health that we were looking for. For me, it's not privatization. It's basically corruption. And I think it was bemoaning the fact that he didn't have faith in the government handling the new oil producing things that you guys were talking about. In other words, he just said we cannot trust government. But I just feel that the problem is corruption. It is not privatization, because we've seen what privatization has done already. It's brought us to this point. On the other issue that I want to talk about is that doctor. I mean, that was a sad commentary on the Nigerian character, on the African character. Here's a doctor, who volunteered, pretty much put his life at risk, to do the right thing. And he's sitting there, and I could just feel, his story, the politicians run around stealing money left and right, and stuff. And here's this doctor just bemoaning the fact that he cannot even do the simple thing he went to school for. He's talking about leaving. He says all the other doctors are going to leave. I mean, this is sad. I just think, in terms of your question of the day, maybe the rampant word will be taken out of it, but there's still going to be corruption. I just hope this new leadership at the NNPC would at least will manage it, will be able to manage it. But I don't think it's going to be removed completely.
All right, thank you.
Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you. So obviously he disagreed with the idea of privatizing.
So do I. So do I, Rudolf. I'm not a huge fan of privatizing state stuff. I feel like every necessary avenue should be exploited before anything like that. I mean, Ghana is an example of that. We had some companies that were not, some corporations, I should say, government corporations that didn't seem to be so viable. Oh, let's sell them off. And then we privatize them only for it to eventually fold up or do worse, or, and especially with a vital resource like oil, I would think that it's better controlled by the federal government than anybody else.
Now, let's go to talk a little bit about the other topic about Fashola and the website.
Yeah.
Look at what some people are writing. There seems to be a consensus. People are saying that there are two camps, of course. People who believe that this story is true, people who believe that it's not true. We already brought someone from budget, the people that identified it from the budget, so we know that it's true. The question is, people are saying that, Sahara reporters, that people who are reporting this are people who do not want Fashola to be made a minister. Now, there's a bigger issue here, public interest, and the issue of how Africans think about public funds and taxpayers' money. So the mere fact that a governor of a state used government money to build a website for himself, that alone, it doesn't matter how much it costs, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen for a personal website. But to spend $400,000, about 78 million. Nobody believed this story when it came out, but when we spoke to the people that actually identified it, from published budget, the Lagos State government published this budget and said this is how much we spent. It's outrageous. What do you think?
Rudolf, I've heard so many ridiculous stories come out of Nigeria, and this would definitely compete as one of them. I mean, that amount of money to upgrade a website is obscene. What kind of website is it? Apparently it's a WordPress website. WordPress is not actually free. And to spend that amount of money on a WordPress site is just mind-boggling. Besides that, though, Fashola seems to be somebody who I've heard a lot of good things about. I've heard a lot of good things about how he's transformed Lagos State and all of that. But that brings me to the point you just made. How do we see public funds and how they should be dispersed? Africa is a place where you find people standing on the roadside waiting for the politician to give them a handout. This handout, most likely, is money that belongs to them anyway, which should have been used in another way to benefit them better. But then they would rather have that small brown envelope than ensure that the right things are done, i.e. healthcare, clean water, all of that. It's time to make our leaders more accountable. There are people who are saying Sahara reporters did this and that and that. Why are you not looking at the issue? Why are you blaming the messenger instead of looking at the message? We are a media house. We only report the issue. Why are people not looking at the actual issue?
Okay, let's read some of the comments. This is from Ame Paul Omar. He wrote, ha 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 ha, cooked up. Did you read the part about no company by that name? Ha 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 ha. This one is from Local Patrick. He says, that is not corruption. It is change from analog to digital. We have a new caller. Hey, welcome to SaharaTV.
Yes, hello, good afternoon.
Yeah.
My name is Andrew. I'm calling from Boston, Massachusetts. I wanted to weigh in on the many topics you are looking at today. Okay. And I find it particularly disturbing that they all have one theme, and that is corruption. You know, a man like former Governor Babatunde Fashola, who was looked up to as an example of what Nigeria should look like, it's so disappointing. That type of huge amount could be deployed to build a website when so many people are hungry. Women are dying in hospitals because some people chose to divert resources for the health sector. There's still a long way we have to go in Nigeria. Many people believe change has come. As long as many of these people don't go to jail, and I mean go to jail, not get plea bargains to return what they stole. We entrusted everybody in public office to protect the Commonwealth, but it's obvious all they are after is what they can get for themselves. So whether it is APC, whether it is PDP, I'm not concerned. The only time I'll clap for General Buhari, I'll clap for the ESCT, I'll clap for whoever claims to bring change to Nigeria is when those who decide to abuse their office are sent to jail for long term. If we were to return to the whole probation state of nature, I would have preferred we tie all of them to the stakes and we shoot them, but they will tell you it is not civilized. Extreme actions demand extreme reaction. So as long as these people choose not to change, we have to look for a way to change them by any means possible. For example, I was reading on a news portal online earlier in the week, and the chairman of the governing council of a university in Adamawa State, he bought a Prado SUV worth about 13 million naira as scrap.
Yeah, 150,000 naira. Yes.
Tell me, what type of court should we take that type of man to? What type of court should we take the governing council that approved such daylight robbery. If you ask me, we return to the state of nature, we tie all of them to the sticks and shoot them. Because it's as if, it sounds extreme. It's as if these guys have been so died in the wood in traumatizing Nigerians. And it seems the only way out is just tie all of them up and shoot them. Because they seem not to change. For example, I was reading another interview with the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, and they asked him, these people who are corrupt when you were in office, what did you do? He said he had set up the EFCC, and Nuhu Ribadu, as the then chairman, was supposed to know that he had to go after these people. But in Nigeria, if you are used to the Nigerian parlance, you have to know your boss's body language before you take a step forward. Yeah, Ibrahim Lamode has been the EFCC chairman for how many years? He suddenly realized that we could pick up so many people to come and answer for how money have been growing wings and disappearing from those we entrusted to look after those money. Lamode just woke up.
Yeah.
Do we need a Buhari to come into office before people know that they have to be alive to their responsibility?
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much. We have to stop you so that we can get other people to be involved in this. So that's a good point. I think
he's making some very cogent points.
I think the most important thing is that, one, a lot of people were shocked that this could come out to believe that Lagos State is exceptional. It's a model. So they were shocked. But the reason is that this is something the Lagos State government put out there for the public to see. So the fact is that I don't think people have been looking into these things. And when we spoke to Stanley Achono, who is operational manager from Budget, he said that people are saying that they are being paid by opposition to look at public information, something that the Lagos State government sent out there for the public to see.
That's how apathetic we are towards governance. Okay, the governance are supposed to work for we ourselves. People don't care. People see it's like a slap in the face. They're telling you practically that we spend this money to do this, and they have put it in the public domain, and then you don't go to look. It's not their fault.
And someone is pointing it out to you, and you are saying, oh, they are being paid by opposition to do that.
That's exactly the point.
And newspapers that are reporting it, you are saying, they are trying to stop him from being a minister in Nigeria. So you see, when it comes to looking at Africa and one of the issues in Africa, you have to deal with the people who are governing, the people themselves. The people themselves are so... well, we don't want to go against the people, but
no, but it's a serious point.
It's a factor in why Africa is the way it is.
But Rudolf, I also want to add that President Buhari and how he's managing affairs. Yes, he's taking his time. Yes, he's doing all that he wants to do. He should really be careful not to lose that gusto that people have felt with his coming into office. People still believe that he is the face of change. And that is kind of waning slowly because people feel like, oh, what's going on? We're still seeing certain things that we used to see under President Jonathan. So he stands at risk of losing that confidence that Nigeria has put in him. And I feel like he really should do something, even if just for cosmetic purposes, to say that I am ready and I'm going to deliver what I promised to deliver.
Let me read this comment on our Facebook by John Ben, and he wrote, as long as it is an APC governor, this story is not true. It will only be true if it is PDP, Jonathan, or Madueke. APC is the party of saints, quote unquote. Even if a thief defects to the party, he or she becomes an automatic holy man. Those in APC can never go wrong. They have never done and will never do anything wrong in their life. So then another person, let me read this one. Chiedu Odumegu Alaska. That's an interesting name. Okay, he wrote, we know that Lagos is the most corrupt state. I am not surprised. So I think that element of surprise and what it tells me, because when I was talking to Stanley, I asked him, have you looked into other states? And he said that they are trying, but they don't even have access to kind of budgets from all the states. To get government officials or government agencies to release their budgets, they are going to court with the National Assembly for them to release their budget so that they will look at it. You know, so the problem is wide, and
it is.
I think the shock of the nation is simply that if this is happening in Lagos, what's happening in Ebonyi State? What's happening
exactly,
in Zamfara State?
Exactly. But Rudolf, you asked a very vital question to Achonu, his name is, which is the question about the freedom of information. All the states are supposed to make this information public. That should be rammed down their throats. It's not like I do it when I want, like Lagos State loved and did it. That said, also, we also have to, as a people, as the citizens, do more with that freedom that we are fighting for, the freedom of information. What are we going to do with it? Is it just for, you know, just plaster on the wall facade, or do we really want to have access to the information that we need? Listen, the amount of money that's going out of the Nigerian kitty every day, if we have people who are really checking, if we have a Sahara reporters who is on your neck day and night, if you have a budget who is ready to examine these documents, then Nigerians will start feeling like they're getting more. And then people will also start feeling a bit more jittery when they are engaging in corrupt practices. Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, Fashola is a senior advocate of Nigeria. It's the highest level you can get to as an attorney in Nigeria. A lot of people were saying things like, you all really think that the man is dumb? They don't believe that it's possible for someone at that level. Forget about the fact that he's a governor, he's a lawyer, that he could sign off on a budget that would say this amount of money is going to be used to build websites for me. People don't believe that. The question is now that they know that it actually happened and it was released, the information came from the state government. I asked Stanley, have they heard from the government? He said they've not, and they don't want to. It's not their job. That if they want to explain anything, Lagos State government, they should explain to the people of Lagos State.
That's a valid point, really.
But the people who should be asking these questions to their own government to explain what happened. No, they are not even believing that. They don't believe that. Exactly. They think that the goal is that some people want to run him down, some people want to destroy his name, some people want to. They are not thinking about...
Rudolf, two things come up here. Number one, lawyers are not necessarily saints. Lawyers do not necessarily tell the truth all the time. But again, I think that the best thing that Fashola can do for himself is to come out on this matter. I think silence is not going to work for him in this matter. Of course, he did the right thing by putting the information out. But then once you put that information out, you should be prepared to defend it, right? So I think that this is a time for him to really do some, you know, cleaning up. Get someone to speak on the issue. Is it true? Is it not? How did we end up at that figure? Maybe there's something we're missing. Who knows? So I think that he would do himself a lot of good if he himself or a spokesperson comes out to speak on the matter and, you know, put some form of closure to it.
In the interview we had with Stanley Achonu, he also pointed out some other figures, outrageous figures in the budget. Like the figure of the money they used to build an overhead bridge is enough to build a bridge across the Niger. It's amazing. So the fact is that our people are yet to, we've been beaten down for a long time, that they are yet to have the courage to look into things themselves and know that, I don't know why they trust politicians anyway. Any politician, it doesn't matter what the face they put out there. Things are wrong in the country, and the reason why they are wrong is that some people are doing wrong things. And I don't think you can hold people accountable when you worship them. You have anything to say more?
Yeah, it's the big man syndrome, Rudolf. We worship big men too much. There are too many chiefs in Nigeria. There are too many ogas and bosses in Nigeria. Not just Nigeria, though, across Africa, Ghana included. We worship these people too much. Instead of, see, these are people who come to you 4 years earlier, asking you, begging you practically to vote for them, you know? And then when they go into office, they totally metamorphose into something else. You have in Ghana politicians fighting for increases in all kinds of ridiculous allowances first before they put the vital issues of the people's needs next. I say to these people, next time anybody comes to knock on your door and says, vote for me, let them sign an undertaking that when I go, until you eat, as in until I eat, you don't eat. You know, you don't go and start you know, haggling over more money for yourselves when doctors are on strike, when teachers are on strike, when there's no chalk in schools, stuff like that. We need to check those things, and we really need to stop worshipping politicians. They are ordinary people. We went to school with some of them. You know, some of them got there because they were favorites of certain people and all of that. Let's stop worshipping them. Let's ask them the hard questions. And politicians, it's in the interest of politicians to keep people in the dark. So instead of using the money to improve infrastructure, to build schools, etc., they prefer you in that state where you can hardly read even the newspaper, so they can fling, you know, figures and stuff at you and just have you swallowing them.
Our number again is 917-284-9811. One of the comments on our website, Facebook, is someone said about the question of the day, what do you think about NNPC? He said, we are not interested. I guess that's what is happening.
That sums it up.
They are not interested, and we have like 2 minutes left. I think most people are not interested in this, but this is a critical matter, I think. And when you look at it in Lagos State, you can imagine what's happening in other states. And unless we start holding people accountable, unless we start discussing issues that are not comfortable, because apparently this is not comfortable for a lot of people. A lot of people do not believe that this could happen in Lagos State. They rather default to this position that this is the job of opposition people trying to stop APC governor from being a minister. But these are things that we have to look into, and we have to question people in power.
Most definitely.
To answer. All right. So on that note, we are going to end the call back for today. We are going to go to Africa Edition, and also we will have an interview with Femi Falana on the Boko Haram soldiers that were sentenced to life in
I actually spoke to Femi Falana some weeks earlier concerning some soldiers that he was defending in court who had been court-martialed and sentenced to death. Apparently, the Nigerian army has decided to review the court-martial, and we don't know if these are going to be reduced sentences, if they are going to be quashed altogether. We are yet to find out from Femi Falana.
We'll talk to him at the top of the hour. So until then, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.